Now, the Judicial Services Commission has recommended Justice Mandisa Maya as the next Chief Justice of South Africa. This came after 4 grueling days of interviews with 4 candidates. Some commentators have expressed unhappiness with the manner in which the proceedings were conducted. Doris Tshepe is the spokesperson of the JSC, and she joins me now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Let's just start with an explain of what the JSC is and what its functions are as well.
Good day, Ms. Kunta, and thank you for having me on your show. You will all know that the Judicial Services Commission is a commission established in terms of Section 178 of the Constitution. So it is a constitutional body that is established in order to deal with judicial matters as contemplated in Section 178 of the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Just expand on those functions for us, please.
And if you want me... I'm sorry, Ms. Kunta, I missed that.
I said if you can just expand on those functions for us. So what does the body do?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Essentially, there are 2 functions of the Judicial Services Commission. Firstly, it deals with the interviews and recommendation for appointment of judges. And then the second issue relates to complaints that may be brought against judges in that regard. So there are essentially 2 of those. In relation, it plays a pivotal role in the appointment of judges and in the disciplinary measures of judges. When it performs the first function, i.e. the appointment of judges, it does so as a full Judicial Services Commission. When it comes to the second role, it does so excluding what we refer to as the politicians, members of the National Assembly and members of the National Council of Provinces.
Mm-hmm. Just talk to us about those members of the JSC. Who are they and how do they get to be part of the JSC?
As I stated, the Constitution establishes the JSC. It also specifically spells out the composition of the JSC. The first composition is representatives of the judiciary, and that is the Chief Justice of the Republic, who is the chairperson of the JSC, the President of the Supreme Court of Appeal, representatives of the judge presidents of various high courts, the cabinet minister responsible for justice in South Africa, representatives of the advocates profession, representatives of the attorneys profession, members of parliament in the National Assembly, members of parliament in the National Council of Provinces, and then you also have teachers of law who would be designated by various universities. And the president is also entitled to appoint 4 members. Where the JSC is interviewing judges in various high courts, the judge president of that high court and the premier of the province where the high court division is located also become a member of the JSC.
All right. So there's commentary.
That is what is contained in the Constitution.
Yeah. So there's commentary expressing discomfort with the recommendation of a CJ, as opposed to some have suggested just briefing the president on all 4 candidates. Talk to me about how it normally works in terms of how a Chief Justice is appointed, and also if you can speak to the level of discomfort that's been raised around this process and perhaps the way some of the commissioners conducted themselves.
Thank you, Ms. Kunta. The Constitution is clear, and that is the President appoints the Chief Justice or the Deputy Chief Justice after consultation with the Judicial Services Commission and leaders of political parties. The process that we undertook is a process where the president has written to the Judicial Services Commission in November to say he would like to consult the Judicial Services Commission in respect of the 4 candidates that were interviewed last year. That is a consultation process, and in that process, the Judicial Services Commission would then interview, as it did, and in fact, what the Judicial Services Commission did was to publish in a media statement how it was going to conduct the proceedings. The first was that the candidates were going to submit forms that are generally submitted by judges who apply for to be appointed after receiving the nomination from the president. And then members of the public, including law bodies, were required to provide feedback to the Judicial Services Commission. And then there was agreement for the interviews to take place in the course of last week. And that is what has happened. After the interview, the Judicial Services Commission members would then meet and deliberate on the proceedings and then make their decision on the candidates. The Judicial Services Commission is still to make a report to the president, informing the president on the suitability of all the applicants or the candidates that were interviewed last week.
Mm. I must state though that in the past, the president, the previous presidents, they would have recommended or nominated one candidate. So it was for the first time that that the Judicial Services Commission had to deal with more than one candidate. Okay. So just to get clarity, you're saying that they still have to compile a report to send to the president around who the next Chief Justice they believe is, but there was that announcement about Justice Mandisa Maya.
That would include the decision on recommending Justice Maya, President Maya, to the president, indeed.
Thank you very much for your time. Doris Tshepe, the spokesperson of the Judicial Service Commission, joining me now, just explaining the process that we've been seeing unfold last week, how it works, who makes part of the JSC, and more. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News.
Thank you for having us on. Thank you.